And now it is with great pride that we present our first Ready Wit Award to Raphael Bob-Waksberg. Raphael, would you mind opening the award and showing it off to the camera?
Okay. Oh boy. All right. I got, oh my goodness. Wow, look at that.
So this stunning award was designed by Russian artist Evgeny Grobov, and it combines two things that are integral to the Comedic Arts program: Emerson's mascot, the lion, who is bold, brave, and strong, and the jester hat, which ties the award to the roots of comedy and the jester's historical role of speaking truth to power. Congratulations again. Would you mind sharing a few words about what this award means to you?
I would be happy to. Wow. All right. Hello, everybody. When I first found out I was receiving this award, I thought, wow, what an honor. Ready Whip is one of my favorite brands of nitrous oxide propelled sweetened whipped cream topping, but I didn't even know they gave out awards. It was then clarified for me that I was not receiving the Ready Whip Award, but another equally notable award called the Ready Wit Award, which was established to celebrate comedy that, quote, addresses the most pressing issues of the day. Then I got nervous. Does my comedy address the most pressing issues of the day? And should comedy address the most pressing issues of the day? That's a lot of responsibility to hang on comedy, a genre that frankly can't even manage to effectively communicate who is on first. And by the way, the most pressing issues of the day right now are kind of a bummer. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of it is bad news. And to be honest, there's been no shortage of comedy about it, and I'm not sure it's helping. So I started wondering, what is the benefit of addressing, even comedically, the rottenness around us when no amount of addressing it seems to make the rottenness subside? Yes, comedy can function as a release, but what if that release actually distracts us from the grave seriousness of our current circumstance? Are we doing the work when we craft a witty observation that gets a reaction? Or are we hitting a little button in our brain that makes us feel like we've done something, thereby illegitimately satisfying our internal motivation to actually, do something? So then I started asking myself questions like, is comedy good? And have I wasted my life on a pursuit that is at best frivolous and at worst actively harmful? And now I'm getting an award for this? A tribute to my own complicity? And then I thought, okay, guy from network, calm down. Why don't you have a glass of water and take a nap? So then I had a glass of water and I took a nap and I felt much better. And then I looked back at the speech that I had started writing and I thought, okay, I've got some questions I need to answer. So here are my attempts at answering those questions. But before I do, I don't know any more about this than you do. There are no rules. There are no absolutes in comedy or in life. We're all just figuring this out. And there's no guarantee tomorrow that I won't feel 100% the opposite of what I feel right now about all this stuff. But you're getting me today, so you're going to get what I feel right now. If I'd written this speech ahead of time, I could have told you what I felt a month ago, but I procrastinated. So you're getting what I'm feeling right now. So first question, can comedy make a difference? When I think about the power of comedy, I picture great satirists, usually sitting behind a desk and talking straight to camera, toppling the pretensions of our oppressors, shining a bright light on their abuses and shaming them. But how does that work when the oppressors have no shame? When I was in college, I was certain that every member of the Bush administration would one day face some sort of retribution for their crimes against humanity. If not in the International Court of Justice, then at least in the court of public opinion. I mean, how could they not, after what was said about them on The Daily Show and in The Onion? But guess what? Comedy did not destroy them. Nor will the dragons society faces today be bested by a well-deployed zinger. We've tested the hypothesis and seen the results. The dragons are zinger proof. I do think comedy can make a difference. I think comedy's quieter but more successful path towards social change has been not in the ways it's taken down the powerful, but in the gradual ways it's lifted up and legitimized the disenfranchised. Comedy normalizes. It makes the strange less strange, and it allows us to discover things about people we'd otherwise never interact with, and discover things about ourselves. I've seen the difference that comedy can make in my own work. Now, I didn't set out to make a difference. I just wanted somebody to pay me to write jokes so I wouldn't have to get a real job. But I meet people all the time who tell me that my writing has made a difference in their lives, that it's given them the language to articulate feelings they always felt but never understood, the tools to communicate who they are to their friends and family, the strength to get through another day, or the courage to ask for help. It doesn't fix everything, but it has, in ways small and significant, helped individual people. And I do think that's worth something. Okay, so next question. Should comedy make a difference? Is that really our job? Sure, you might be saying, that's fine for you, Raphael Bob-Waksberg, but I don't do that kind of comedy. My comedy is just for fun. It's comedy. Can I opt out of the social responsibility part? And my answer to that is maybe, but it's tricky. I want to tell you a story about Elia Kazan, the director of On the Waterfront and A Streetcar Named Desire. But it's actually not really about Kazan. Like most stories I tell people, it's really mostly about me. So when I was 14, Elia Kazan won the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Oscars. And this was very controversial. In fact, he'd already been denied a Lifetime Achievement Award by the American Film Institute and many film festivals and critics associations because of his testimony before the House Committee on Un-American Activities in 1952, in which he named former associates that he knew to be communists, resulting in them being blacklisted from the industry. So go figure, a lot of people were still upset about that when it was announced that Elia Kazan was now receiving a Lifetime Achievement Oscar. Traditionally, when one receives this award, they are given a standing ovation at the ceremony. So this year, a number of people decided to make a political statement. They would not stand for Elia Kazan. Now, if you go to YouTube, you can actually watch this moment. They announce his name, and several audience members clap politely, but do not stand. Others refuse to even applaud. On the other hand, many Academy members did stand defiantly, making a point of their own on the line they saw between artistic achievement and one's personal or political actions. So if you were in the Los Angeles County Music Center on the night of March 21st, 1999, when Elia Kazan received his honorary Oscar, you could either stand up and make a point, or you could stay seated and make a point. Those were your options. There was no way to not make a point. There was no way to stay neutral on the subject of Elia Kazan. And as a 14-year-old who at the time barely had a take on any of this stuff, I was fascinated by this observation. You can't recuse yourself from discourse. Silence is a statement. Abstention from voting is itself a vote for something. The food you eat, the products you purchase, the words you use, the ways in which you're funny, all of these decisions have weight, both subtle and profound. You can't claim neutrality or plead ignorance. What you're doing matters in life and in comedy. So, what does this mean? That every joke you make needs to be actively advocating for a progressive cause? It needs to be a correct and unequivocal point for the good guys? No. The world needs silliness. It needs goofy song parodies and pointless wordplay and fart jokes and sex jokes and interrupting cow jokes. There's no shame in being funny for the sake of funny, especially if you're really funny. But I would urge you to remember that you have power. As comedians, we like to think of ourselves as not having power. We're not the kings, we're the jesters. We speak truth to power. But the ability to speak truth is itself power. We have power. And when we use that power, we are communicating a philosophy, whether we mean to or not. So I think it is worthwhile to occasionally double check our philosophy. Because as we've seen in recent years, there is nothing more dangerous than a charismatic entertainer with a toxic philosophy. So, final question, how? How do we make a difference in our comedy? I think we do it in the same way we make a difference in life, by being thoughtful and open, by inviting criticism and listening to it, by being empathetic and curious about other people. At our best, we can make comedy that seeks to understand and reveal, rather than comedy that seeks to show off how clever we are. We can aim for laughs of recognition, not laughs of superiority. Comedy is a normalizing machine. It makes the outrageous normal. And it normalizes for good, like when you hear a joke that describes a feeling you thought only you had, an observation that recontextualizes how you see things, or an insight into a perspective you've never considered. But it also normalizes for bad. Comedy can normalize cruelty under an umbrella of wit. Sometimes we tell ourselves, if what I say is funny enough, then it doesn't matter who it might hurt. If what I say is funny enough, then I am not responsible for whatever collateral damage it may cause. But that's only true if the only thing you care about is being funny. And if the only thing you care about is being funny, then I'm sorry, but you are a boring person. Remember, you have power. Use it. Thank you to the students and faculty of the Center for Comedic Arts at Emerson College for inviting me here today. Thank you for this award that I can keep in my home as a reminder of my responsibility. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to lecture all of you. I'm sure you thought my speech would be funnier, but I already have your award and I'm not giving it back. I said some things today that I hope resonated, and I hope I said some things that you violently disagree with. I hope you disagree with me. Go be funny. And if you're funny enough, eventually someone will make up an award to give you. So you'll visit their college, and then you can make your own speech. Thank you.